David, if these sagacious politicians know everything about the relationship between energy production and the weather, why can't they explain it to us?
It is extraordinary that they can't. The unfortunate thing is that the mass media is not prepared to interrogate them properly on these things. For example, when we had the Prime Minister talking about net zero emissions and speaking in the Pacific about climate emergencies and this being the most important issue, why didn't they ask the Prime Minister, why didn't they say to him, well, surely when you're speaking to your Pacific Island colleagues, surely you should be asking them why they aren't protesting about what the Chinese government is not doing in the field of renewable energy, because the communists in China are, as we all know, going heavily into coal-fired power stations. They're doing all the sorts of things, and as you rightly said, they're responsible for almost 1/3 of the emissions of the world. Yet those demonstrators in Sydney who hold up the traffic never go to the Chinese consulate or the Chinese embassy, and our governments never complain directly to China, and the Pacific Island nations, which you rightly depicted as waiting to collect more money from us, never complain to the communists in China about their failure to do anything at all about their emissions, if emissions do have this effect on the weather which they are claiming.
You're absolutely right, David. Look, the real take-home point here for the viewers is this. Whenever you hear a politician, Liberal, Labor, National Party, whenever you hear them talk about net zero emissions, it means policies which will destroy our economy, our freedom and our sovereignty. It means eye-watering debt, shipping jobs off seas, no air travel except for them, soaring electricity prices and power shortages. But it won't mean turning excessive rainfall to our advantage. David, we've had rainfall for months, right up and down the East Coast, often at flood levels. Will this rain ever be harvested and put to good use?
It seems as though it won't, although you go back to well before the Second World War in relation to the Bradfield Plan, and soon after the Second World War in relation to the Beale Plan and the Bridges Plan in Western Australia. And Bridges, incidentally, was the first Indigenous minister in Western Australia, and he wanted to bring the water down from the north. This country has more than enough water, not only when it rains heavily on the East Coast, as it does regularly, but we have an enormous amount of water in the north, and it just needs to be brought down. And the technology is improving all the time to do that. We have well-established, well-prepared plans, right back to Dr. Bradfield and Minister Beale and Minister Bridges. They all had plans, very sensible plans. Why aren't we doing anything about it? It's because governments don't attend to the things that they were elected for government. The most important things which relate to this country, that is defence, that is water, that is energy, and that is education. On all of them, our politicians are failing, and failing dismally. And you quite rightly raised the question of betrayal. They are betraying the people who elected them, and it really is time for Australians to take back their country.